everybody, welcome back to the channel. We got another weekly haul and review video for you guys this week. Really excited about this week's because we got two very interesting items that I am looking forward to unboxing with you guys and just kind of going through. They're not really things. One of them actually was a pre-order that got delayed and then it came in this week, which is really exciting. The other is not a pre-order, it's just something that I randomly found and thought looked really cool, so I picked it up. I'm really excited to go through that with you guys. Before we get started though, I want to thank everyone for all of your support of the channel. It's been awesome seeing people's feedback and comments, getting likes on the video, getting new subscribers. Welcome to every single one of you. I hope to entertain you. And it's just really exciting to have all you guys here and to meet people who share my love of physical media. That's probably the most exciting part of this. So please, I encourage you, keep commenting, keep liking the videos. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe if you like what you see. Right now, I'm going to show you, this is everything that we have planned for the month of September. So we got a lot going on this month, and I'm really excited for you guys to join us for all of it. We're going to be doing a couple reviews, some deep dives into items, some bigger box set collections, and we're also going to be doing our normal cadence of weekly hauls and reviews. I want to apologize because we were supposed to have a release calendar video. We had some technical difficulties with that. Sometimes things are out of your hands and you can't really do anything about it. So I apologize for that, but we will have that next month for you. And I think we're flirting with the idea of doing that as a live video. We'll see about that. I don't know yet. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, enough of all this setup. Let's get into what I picked up this week. All right, everybody, we're getting to the haul portion of the video. So this week we have 4 steelbooks, 2 supplemental Blu-ray titles. I call them supplemental because they're just titles. They didn't come out this week. They're just titles I picked up, I added to my collection. There's a great deal right now on Amazon.com on Arrow Video Blu-rays. I highly recommend you go check it out. Not everything's on sale, but some newer titles from Arrow are finding themselves deeply discounted on Amazon right now. So you should go check it out. See if it's anything you want to add to your collection. Once again, you can see this table here. I don't know. I just think it's a cool table. Anyways, we also have 2 box sets to go over this week. So some really great stuff that we added to the collection this week. So I'm going to start with the Arrow Video supplemental titles that we picked up. Just stuff to kind of add to our collection, stuff we didn't have. And I'm going to start first with Basket Case. This is a Blu-ray. This is Arrow Video. I picked this up on Amazon.com as part of the big sale. You take a look at the cover here. Also take a look at all the special features on the back. What I love about Arrow, you know, you're not going to get a shortage of special features, commentaries, interviews, featurettes, all kinds of stuff. We open that up. You got the disc art right there. And we take the disc out. There's the reversible cover. Pretty cool stuff. I will say that I think there was a limited edition of Basket Case put out by Arrow Video, but that is not what was on sale at Amazon. This is what was. So Basket Case is the first pickup of the week. We also picked up from Arrow Video, an Arrow release, Deep Red, Dario Argento. So, you know, this is Gelato movie. Gelato. Did I say gelato? That's an ice cream. That's fine too. Gelato movie. Take a look at the special features there. Brand new restoration, 4K from the original negative. This should look really good. There's your original cover. I've never seen Deep Red, but I'm excited to give it a watch. So again, Arrow Video, Deep Red. Now, I'm going to get into the 4K steelbooks. There's only 2 4K steelbooks this week. And then I'll get into the limited edition Blu-ray steelbook that we picked up that's really, really cool. And I'm excited to show you guys that. But let's get into the 4K steelbooks first. And I'm going to start with the Goonies Best Buy exclusive collective steelbook. There's the back. Artwork on the back of the actual steelbook. Cover the front. I really like this steelbook because, you know, skull, crossbows. Well, actually, it's not crossbones. It's swords. And the skull. Never say die. Very pirate. This is matte. It doesn't look like it, but it is. So it's not going to hold your fingerprints. fantastic. You know I'm a big fan of that. I prefer the matte way much more. Get that out of here. We don't need HBO Max. I prefer the matte finish way more than I do the glossy, as you guys are aware. Let's take the discs out. Take a look at what we got under here. There you go. Pretty cool stuff. We pop it in. You know, you get the Blu-ray, you get the 4K disc. It's a dual pack. There was also a digital code. That is the Goonies. When I look at the back and I take a look at the special features, this doesn't appear to have too many special features, but we'll get into it. I'm very curious to see how long this featurette is. So we'll get into that. Get that out of here. The Goonies. The other 4K Steelbook we picked up this week is Beetlejuice. So take a look there. I really actually like the artwork on this cover. I think that's really cool. What do they call it? Is it the Dream World or the Netherworld in Beetlejuice? Or the Other World? Something like that. There's it on the back. Not a lot of special features on this one either, so I'll be really interested to get into it and see. There's the art on the back. This, I don't know, it feels glossy, but it's also not holding my fingerprints as much. So I don't know. They ask for your feedback. It's kind of interesting. They give you this little survey with this code, and they want your feedback. But if I pop the discs out here, man, you're fighting me, huh? Really want to keep that disc. Get the Blu-ray out of there. There's the artwork on the inside. Really cool stuff. Big fan of Beetlejuice. Really excited to give this one a view. And I'm honestly excited to compare it to the Blu-ray. I think the Blu-ray, I want to say there was a lot of noise reduction done on the Blu-ray, a lot of post work, and I don't think the Blu-ray looked very good, if I remember correctly, at Beetlejuice. So I'm really excited to see what this 4K transfer looks like and see what they did with this to make it look good. So this is Beetlejuice 4K Steelbook. Best Buy exclusive, by the way. It doesn't say it on here, but I'm fairly certain it's a Best Buy exclusive Steelbook. So those are the two 4K Steelbooks we got this week. Let's get into just one normal 4K disc before I dip into some of the limited edition and special edition stuff I got. I'll dip into this. This is Pitch Black from Arrow Video. Again, you could debate whether or not this is their first foray into 4K or Flash Gordon is. Flash Gordon was the first release in the United States, so to me, that's their first dip. But I think they actually did this restoration of Pitch Black prior to doing the restoration of Flash Gordon. Now, what can I say about this? Well, first of all, the artwork is really cool. It's reversible. I'm not going to show you the other side because then I'll get it in and it won't be even. Just know it's a very similar picture. It's just daylight and it's not dark. So it's yellow and black. Maybe I'll find a picture of it and post it here if I can find it. But anyways, take a look at these special features, man. There's so many special features. The whole back cover is almost full of them. I mean, you're talking tons and tons of commentaries, interviews, featurettes, trailers, just all kinds of stuff. There's also additional cartoons on here. There is short films on here. This has so many extras. If we open it up, we take a look at the inside. You obviously get the disc right here. Then Arrow, you know, they do this. You get a little book. It's got all kinds of information, cool pictures. Great stuff. Pitch Black, Arrow Video 4K. Can't wait to do a review on this one. You know that we will be reviewing this. Now, let's get into some of the more limited edition, special edition type stuff that we got. And I'm really excited to share this. I really think this is awesome. So let's start with this. This is a limited edition Steelbook. They only made 6,000 of these. I got this directly from Synapse. I would suggest it's still available, I believe. So if you want to pick this up, you should. But this is The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. And what a cool release this is. So look, you get a slipcover here that has two sides. So take your pick how you want to display it. But not only that, it's a steelbook with some really cool artwork on the steelbook right there. And then on the back, it's got some information. The steelbook obviously has some back too, but there's all your information. Tons of special features on this thing. This is a new 4K restoration done from the original 35mm camera negative. It's got a new 5.1 English stereo surround remix. I don't know if it's DTS or Dolby. It looks like it's DTS. So a DTS 5.1. This is kind of one of those films, you don't hear much about it, but a lot of people who have seen it really, really love this film. They think it's a great zombie film. If we pop this sucker open, you'll see there's some additional extra stuff in here. First of all, you get a poster that's basically the same artwork that's on the steelbook itself. Really, really cool. I never hang my posters, I just keep them in here. You get a booklet. And in the booklet, it's got the CD track listing. I'll go over that in a second, but it's got some information about the film. It's got some information about the restoration that was done. A lot of information about the restoration. So there's a lot to unpack right here. Then also you get the CD. So this is actually a CD soundtrack. So you can pop it in and you can listen to the soundtrack if you'd like. But then you also get the Blu-ray version of the film that comes off the 4K restoration. You get a DVD. And then you got the artwork on the inside. Phenomenal, just phenomenal. A little pricey, I'm not gonna lie. It's a limited edition, it's a little pricey, but you get a lot of good stuff here. And I know some of the boutique studios, they have to charge more so that they can stay around. And we love supporting those boutiques because they do really, really good work. And we want to support them. So this is The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue, limited edition steelbook. Very, very impressive. Very cool purchase. Cannot wait to get in, give this one a view, and give my feedback on it. We also, in addition to all of that, we got 2 box sets this time around. And these are really cool. I didn't know they'd be coming at the same time, but I'm really excited that I got them. I'm really excited to share them with you. And at some point, we'll probably do individual reviews of these just because it's really hard to do a box set review in a week, especially when I have all of this other stuff that I have to go through. So these tend to get a little bit of special treatment. Plus, there's so much here that I want to be able to unpack it and really enjoy it. And we're going to start with... And I'm going to try to do my best here to show these, but, they're big. So the Twin Peaks from Z to A box set. Once again, another limited. There is a limited number of these out there, but it comes in this cool cube. And you can take a look right there. Some of the artwork, really just trees. Go to the bottom of the cube, nothing really there, right? Turn it around. That's kind of the breakdown of what's inside. You look more trees. But let's pop this thing open. Take a look at what's inside. So you don't open this like you would a traditional cube. It actually pops open this way, you see. And then what do you have in here? You got the red room. Some of that. We'll take that out. I haven't unpacked this yet to put it together, but you get... And this is magnetic. Really cool. So it actually sticks in here, right? And then you open the curtain over here, and these, housed in these boxes, are going to be your discs. So if we pop these open, this is the special event series on Blu-ray. And you've got all this right here, okay? So they're front to back of discs. And then if we look here, more discs, right? Second season, first season, just tons and tons of Blu-ray discs in here. But then you also get a couple of really cool things. I take a look here. Check that out. In this here, boom, you get a 4K disc. And on this 4K disc, you get the original series, the pilot, and an alternate international pilot. And then you get the last episode of the limited event series. And that's done in 4K. Does not have HDR. It's important to note that. So when we do review this, it's just kind of important to note that. You also get the Red Room Gallery here, which is just kind of as it sounds. Photos. And what's interesting about these is you can take them and you can sit them up on this thing, I think, and they'll stand up there. Pretty cool. pretty cool stuff. So you get a lot of these. There's tons of them in here, okay? But that is the Twin Peaks from Z to A set. And it comes with every episode, plus the film, plus the 2 of the episodes in 4K. And it's going to be a lot to unpack and a lot to review. One negative that I will say about the set, just right out the gate, I hate the way these Blu-rays are stored. So I think these boxes are just not as secure as some other, ways to store them, like the hard shell cases. But it is what it is, and I know you have a lot that you have to fit in this set. So I get it. It's fine. But we are going to review this whole set at some point. I'm really excited to do so. That is the Twin Peaks from Z to A box set. And I gotta say, Twin Peaks is one of those weird shows where it really has a cult following, but some people just think it's the weirdest show on earth. But you gotta appreciate it, It has a huge cult following. Speaking of cult followings, we're gonna get into the final item of this week's haul. I think this is the most impressive item maybe I've ever purchased. I know that's going to sound strange and weird. You're going to see it, but it is. Now, when I got this, I was expecting it to come in a box. I don't know, maybe like a box maybe like this size, right? Like maybe this size, height, and then maybe that depth. No, that's not what I got. I'm talking the Gamera Complete Collection. This is Arrow Video put out this box set. This thing, it's huge. Look at it. It's humongous, okay? You see it in my hands, all right? Really, really freaking cool set from Arrow. My goodness, there's everything you get. Tons of films. Now, the coolest part about this, we haven't even gotten into, here it is, okay? Now look at what all comes with this thing. This is so impressive. The angle that I'm having to reach over this camera, by the way, that's also impressive. You're not seeing that. That's a little behind the scenes magic. But check out everything you get here. It's kind of hard to pull out. There we go. First and foremost, and I'm going to give myself some room, you get this book. Look how cool this artwork is. This is sweet. And this is only one book. Take a look. There's a lot of information about the films, look at that, breakdowns of the creatures. Lots of information. Interviews, essays, tons and tons of information in this book. And this is the first book that's in there with some really cool artwork on it. The second book that is in this collection is, check it out, the comic books. This is a collection of the comic books. It's like a graphic novel, and it's included in here. How cool is that for Arrow to put this in this collection? So cool. So you get that as well. So not only do you get a little booklet about each movie, some production, some interviews, you also get the comics collection. And then, of course, the films themselves come in this really cool booklet. And if we, give myself some room here, if we open this thing up, you've got artwork and then you've got discs. And the whole book is kind of done that way. Artwork and discs. Artwork and discs. And then you get these, which these are stills. So there's an example of one, right? And that's it. Tell me how cool that is, man. This might be the most impressive collection that Arrow has put out, honestly, because you get so much here in this set. It's incredible how much is included here. And I'm ultra impressed. I wasn't even expecting to get that much, and then I did. So super, super impressive by Arrow Video, this collection. Just from the get, I mean, I haven't watched any of the films, but just right out of the gate when I got this, I was so impressed with what I got. It came in, I took everything apart, I kind of looked at it. This is another one. I'm doing a review of this later this month, and I'm really excited to get into it because there's just so much here. I do plan on reviewing the comics and the film, so I'm not just going to do the film. I'm going to do everything included in this set. Anyways, that is the box set from Arrow Video, and wow, what an impressive collection you get here. Again, just blows it away. Arrow just blows it away every time. You know you're going to get quality when you purchase something from Arrow Video, and then a lot of times it's even better than you thought. And you get it and you see how many extras are included, or you see some of this bonus stuff that's included, and you're just super impressed. Arrow knocks it out of the park once again. And should we be surprised at this point? Probably not. Anyways, that's the haul portion of the video. We're going to go ahead and get to the reviews this week. Thank you guys for checking out what I picked up. Let's swing it over and see what we thought about what we got last week. All right, now we are going to do the review portion of this video. So I've got 4 reviews for you guys this week. I'm going to be reviewing 2 Blue Underground 4K discs, both Fulci films, House by the Cemetery, and New York Ripper. I'm also going to be reviewing Shin Godzilla. That was an interesting watch. And finally, from Scream Factory, we got Tales from the Darkside, the movie. I'm going to do reviews of all of these. I really don't have much bad to say about these films, but let's get into it. So I'm going to start with one of the Fulci films. I'm going to start with one of the 4K Blue Underground discs, and that is House by the Cemetery. A quick synopsis of the film. Basically, if you've seen one haunted house movie, you've seen them all. That's kind of how this plays out. You've got a family. They are moving to a house. They're moving from New York to Massachusetts into this house. The house has a bit of a past, of course, and the family is kind of tormented, and as they learn more about the house, they experience a bit more torments. I'll start with the expectations that I had going into this and New York Ripper, which I'll get to later in the video. I had very high expectations for this disc going into it because of the work that Blue Underground did on both Zombie and the work that they did on Maniac. And I just thought those were really, really good 4K restorations of these films, 4K transfers. I thought they were really, really good. They had the Atmos tracks on them, and here's what they did. And this is all you can ask for with classic film when it gets put onto 4K, is that it retains its classic feel while at the same time looking new enough that you can watch it and feel the enhancements of the 4K. You really want to be able to appreciate that. You want to be able to look at this and go, dang, that looks really nice. But at the same time, you've got to withhold that classic, the grain and the aesthetics that the director was going for and the cinematographer was going for with the film. Blue Underground did an amazing job in those films, so I had high expectations going into this, and they were met. Those expectations were absolutely met. House by the Cemetery looks great. It looks phenomenal, okay? As a matter of fact, there were plenty of times, and actually, as soon as the movie starts, the first thing I'm thinking to myself is, dang, how can this movie look this good? I just couldn't believe it. And there were several times throughout the film that I had to remind myself, this is an old film. This is an old movie. And that's something that, you constantly got to remind yourself as you're watching this and New York Ripper. And that's how you know you got a good transfer, right? This was, the restoration was done in 2019. And I believe it was part of they took the 4K transfer and then they downscaled it and they released a 3-disc limited edition Blu-ray. So really that's what you're comparing this up against, is that limited edition 3-disc Blu-ray. And that limited edition Blu-ray set really looked good. It really did. This takes it up just a notch. And it's an appreciable notch. The HDR really makes the blacks inky. I say that every time, inky blacks. But what are you going to do? That's what they look like. And this was done from the original 35mm camera. Maybe it's important to note that as well, the negative. It's got Dolby Vision HDR. It's got Dolby Atmos. The movie looks fantastic. You're going to have a good time watching this. There is grain. It is noticeable. And I actually thought the grain was a little more noticeable in this than New York Ripper. But at the same time, this movie looks fantastic. No complaints in the video. You got to give it a 10 out of 10 there for the video. You just have to. For the audio, I mean, it's got an Atmos track, and it's a great track. But it's got other tracks, too. It doesn't only have the Atmos track. It's got a 5.1 English track. It's got a 1.0 English track, a mono track. And it's also got a 1.0 Italian track, if you prefer to watch the movie that way. I watched it with the Atmos English track, and it was fantastic. Again, no complaints with the audio. There's not even much I can say about it, except for you can hear voices, you can hear effects. It really took advantage of the lower and the higher, the upper channels, and you could really hear that. Anytime, things are bumping around. I mean, it's kind of a haunted house movie, kind of, so you get a little bit of that, the bump and the bumping around and all that stuff. Fantastic. Fantastic. Track 10 out of 10 on the audio. Again, this has a great atmos track. I can't knock it at all. There's just no falls. It's hard sometimes it's hard to talk about things except to say this is excellent and you should watch it. The extras, I mean, this thing is loaded with extras. I'll kind of try and show you here. Oh, it's out of focus. It's out of focus. So I wanted to show you. So this thing is loaded with extras, man. I mean, you've got featurettes, you've got interviews, you've got tons and tons of interviews. You've got TV spots, trailers, deleted scenes. You've got an audio commentary. This has it all. This is everything you could ever want in extras. It is loaded with them. The extras were also included in that 3-disc limited edition Blu-ray. It's just the same disc ported over. But the fantastic, again, 10 out of 10 on the extras, because if you don't have that limited edition Blu-ray and this is all you got, you're going to love the extras you get on this disc. Let's talk about story. That's where this gets dinged a little bit. This story makes absolutely no sense. I'm sorry, it doesn't. I know there are people who love this movie. I know it. The story makes no sense. There's the main plot where the family moves into the house, and the previous owner, Dr. Freudstein, who used to own the house, he was doing some weird stuff. And at the same time, there's the subplot with this little girl who apparently is his daughter, or spoilers, by the way. I don't quite understand it. But there's a subplot with the little girl. It's very nonsensical. Multiple times you're asking yourself, why in the hell doesn't the family just leave? I think you ask this in every horror movie you ever watch. Why doesn't the family just leave? And usually there's some explanation for that. This film, I didn't really buy the explanation for it at all. I don't really buy the explanation a lot of times, but this one, it was really particularly like, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. And maybe you can comment below if you make sense of it and you have some grand explanation that you can give me as to the story here. But to me, it just wasn't vibing. All in all, though, I gotta give House by the Cemetery a 9 out of 10. Even though the story is kind of nonsensical, this film has a certain charm about it. It's a Fulci film. Gore, nudity, you're getting them both. And not just gore. Lots of gore. Now, this doesn't hold a candle to New York Ripper, in my opinion. But you get your classic Fulci. You get your eye damage. You get your, again, nudity. That weird blending of nudity and horror that Fulci likes to do. There's a little bit of that in this film. This is a good film. Okay, so I said the story wasn't great, but it's still watchable. It's not like you're watching it and you're going, never again. Ugh. No, I didn't feel that way watching this. 9 out of 10. This is a must-own disc, guys. Blue Underground hits another one out of the park. And at the end of this video, I'll be doing another Blue Underground for you. We'll talk about how that one hits it out of the park. Next up, we have Tales from the Darkside. This is a Scream Factory release. It's the special edition. As I kind of covered in my haul video with it, you get the slipcover, you get the case, and then if you pop this bad boy open and you look inside of it, you get the original artwork right there. Original artwork. So, my thoughts on Tales from the Darkside. You know what? I would rate this, and I'm going story-wise here. I'm diving right in. I would rate this as definitely watchable. Some of the stories are better than the others. My favorite was the first story. I think it's lot 249. That was my favorite story here. It's the first one, and in my opinion, it's the best. It involves a mummy, and it is good. The other two stories are serviceable. They're not bad. They're not offensive. I just think lot 249 is the best. But again, this is an entirely watchable horror movie. You can sit down with this and watch this and just honestly turn your brain off and have a good time with it. And that's, in a lot of cases with horror movies, that's kind of all you want. A little bit of background on this. George A. Romero worked on Tales from the Darkside. And with the success of Creepshow, it really was kind of, hey, how can we capitalize on this? These horror anthologies seem to do all right. And they decided to make a TV show. And Tales from the Darkside became the TV show. And it gave a lot of directors who knew Romero, who were in Romero's circle, a chance to direct episodes of the show. Well, this show was pretty successful. And they decided, you know what, this show's successful, let's make a feature film out of it. And they did that. And this is an anthology film. It tells 3 stories, and there's one story that kind of ties everything together. It is not done poorly. It is not. Even the overarching story is kind of fun about a boy telling this lady stories. She wants to eat him, and he's trying to delay the process by telling her these stories. And even that has kind of an interesting ending. So the story's not bad. Lot 249 is my favorite. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite is. I'd be curious to see if you like the other two. The one with the cat's not bad either. The last one was probably my least favorite. The one that's kind of a love story. But the cat one and Lot 249, they weren't bad at all. Now let's talk about the transfer. So this is a great transfer of this film. I don't know if this is a new scan, and I don't see any information about it on the back. But I don't know if this is a new scan or not, but this is really good. This looks really, really good. This is a heck of a step up from the DVD release. I don't think there's another Blu-ray release of this. I think this is the first time this is on Blu-ray. I could be wrong about that, but I don't remember ever seeing any other Blu-ray editions of this film. But this looks really fantastic. Scream Factory did a heck of a job here. The blacks are dark. The grain is there, but again, it's never offensive. It's never, it doesn't take you away from the film. You don't notice the grain really unless you're looking for it. If you're looking for it, you're going to see it, but it doesn't take you away from the film. The use of color is really good here. Each story kind of has a color hue to it. And it looks very good here. Again, the picture here, really, really a step up here. And this has to be a new transfer because of that, because it just looks super good. And Scream Factory usually does a good job, so I can't say that's a surprise at all. Special features, you get tons of them. The audio track, you have a DTS 5.1 track, but you also have the 2.0 stereo track as well. And I have to say, I utilized the 2.0 track, and it just sounded dang good. It really did. The 5.1 track is great. I did play with both, but I stuck with the 2.0 track because I just felt like sometimes I like to watch movies that way, especially older films, and it was a great track. I mean, you could hear the voices, the sound effects were still there, the music was great. I think everything sounded really good here. Nothing egregious at all with this. Tales from the Darkside, in my opinion, this is very good. Very, very good. I would say this is an 8 out of 10. This is a highly recommended pickup, Tales from the Darkside on Blu-ray. This is the collector's edition. I would pick this up from Scream Factory, especially if you're a fan of the show. There is no reason for you not to have this. This is the best this film has looked, and there's just no reason to pick it up. Not to pick it up. There's just no reason not to pick it up. Now let's talk about Shin Godzilla. So this was like my kind of interesting pickup from last week, because it was really, really cheap on Amazon, so there was just no reason for me not to get it. I love kaiju films, so this was something that, this had a bit of a reputation around it, because there are people who really, really like this, and people who really, really hate this. And I got a little bit into the weeds with this film as I was kind of going through it, because I was interested. I was really interested. And this film takes way more of a look at the bureaucracy around governments handling extreme scenarios, so catastrophes really, and kind of the red tape and the bureaucracy that surrounds that. And a lot of that probably has to do with Japanese politics, which I will admit, I am the first to admit I am not familiar with. But I will say that you could compare that to really anything, that there's just a lot of red tape that gets in the way and decisions are really hard to make. And this film chooses to use Godzilla as kind of the prop for all of this conversation and all of this activity around it. And that's where the film kind of focuses its attention. Yeah, you've got Godzilla. Yeah, they try to stop him. But a lot of the focus is placed on the bureaucracy and what the humans are doing to combat that, and how decisions are getting held up, how they're getting made. And it's an interesting take, really, honestly. And I enjoyed it myself. I know some people probably don't. Some people probably just want to see Godzilla wrecking cities. They want to see tanks trying to shoot him down, and then maybe him fighting another monster. But this takes more of a humanistic approach, and I rather enjoyed it. The CGI wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be going into this. I thought, oh gosh, oh no, here we go. But I didn't get that. Instead, I got a pretty good looking film. Look, the picture here was incredible. The picture here is incredible. I'm fairly certain this was shot digitally. I could be wrong. But this looked really, really good. There was not a lot of grain. But again, very clear picture, very fine details. Blacks were really good. This just looked great. I can't knock the video at all. There was no moments where I thought coloration was off or lines were blurred. This looked really good. Even some of the CGI looked really good, and some of the battles looked really good. The monster, Godzilla, I thought I was fine with the design, but I read that was another piece of controversy where people had a problem with the way Godzilla looked in this film. But I didn't think that at all. I thought he looked great. Again, just look, the film looked great. So you get a Japanese 3.1 and an English 3.1 track. 3.1's interesting. I chose the English track. The dubbing was a little off, and the acting was a little bad. So I don't know if I ding it for that. What I will say is it sounded great, though. So the track was still really, really good. It's just the acting was so poor that it did take a little bit away from me focusing on the audio. I'm like sitting here and I'm trying to listen to it, but I'm watching these people act and I'm like, that is... Ugh. But that being said, it still sounded great. All dialogue is clear. I never thought I was missing anything. There are some scenes that are weirdly silent and then you just have the dialogue. So you can almost tell that it was recorded in a studio. You get kind of that feel, which is a little icky, but I'm not going to lie. The audio was still really good here. The 3.1 track is pretty great. No complaints on the audio at all. Special features, that's where you're going to get my biggest ding with this. There really aren't any at all. There's interviews and trailers, and there's one little featurette that's Godzilla versus the Nerds, and that's it. There's not much here. There should have been a lot more here. I would have loved to see a lot more here. Because this is such an interesting take on Godzilla, I would have liked to seen a little bit more here, but there's just not much. Overall, though, I gotta recommend it. I really do. It wasn't bad. I would say this is an 8 out of 10. This is highly recommended, guys. Just because it looked really good and it sounded really good and the story's not bad. Some people are gonna hate this, so I'll caveat that 8.0, 8 out of 10, with the knowledge that some people are gonna hate this film. And finally, guys, we have my MVP of the week. Okay, let me just start. This is going to be controversial. Not a lot of people think that New York Ripper is better than House by the Cemetery. Matter of fact, I'm going to get knocked by it because a lot of people think this is Fulci's worst film. I like New York Ripper better than I liked The House by the Cemetery. I'm sorry, okay? I thought this picture looked just a little better than the picture on The House by the Cemetery. You really get the feel for New York in this picture. It's grimy. I mean, this is a pre-Giuliani New York, and it absolutely shows, man. The grime is there. The grit is there. You feel it. There are some really stupid things in this movie that I absolutely adore and love. The killer, spoiler, the killer quacking like a duck. I love it. It's so stupid that I love it. And they actually put it in the story, so they pay off on that. It's not just like some dumb thing the killer does. Now, whether or not it's a great way they pay off on it, but they do pay off. One thing I gotta say that's really interesting about this movie, and normally I wouldn't like this stuff because I really don't like politics getting thrown into my movies. This is a very feminist film in a sense that, yeah, a lot of women are brutally murdered, but every man in this film is just a real piece of crap. They really are. They're not good people. Men are portrayed in this film as just jerks and awful. But again, another knockout transfer by Blue Underground. There's not much I can say about it that I didn't say about The House by the Cemetery. This is phenomenal. The colors are great. The detail and the outfits and the clothes and the scenery, the production design here is top-notch phenomenal. The blood looks great. The gore looks absolutely awesome. One downside to this is just the amount of nudity and sex that is thrown into this movie. Might not be your cup of tea. It's not really my cup of tea, but I still enjoy this story better than The House by the Cemetery. I just do. I'm sorry. The audio, you got another Atmos track. It's going to sound great. When people are running, you can hear the little feet down on your lower channels, and you can hear that quack, quack coming from your sides, from your rears. It's great. Great audio. Dolby Atmos. Again, loaded with special features, just like The House by the Cemetery, with tons of interviews and commentaries. You get everything you could want here. It's just, again, Blue Underground is proving to be, and I've still got to watch Pitch Black by Arrow. And Arrow's no slouch because Flash Gordon was really good. Blue Underground is solidifying themselves as A+ tier in the 4K market. They really are. They haven't put a bad one out yet. That's why this is my MVP of the week. I just thought this looked a hair better than The House by the Cemetery. So New York Ripper gets my MVP of the week. This is a 9 out of 10. This is a must own. The only thing that kept it away from being a 10 out of 10 is the story. And I just don't think a lot of people are going to be appealed to the amount of sex that's in this. 9 out of 10 though, must own for 4K collectors. This is a phenomenal piece to have in your set. It looks fantastic. Guys, that's what I got for you with reviews this week. Overall, it was a great week. I mean, we had 2 9 out of 10s and 2 8 out of 10s. So in my opinion, everything that we reviewed here is honestly worth a pickup. Every single one of these is worth having. Shin Godzilla is a little divisive. You could hate it, so I would put the caveat on that. The other ones, absolutely worthy pieces to add to your collection. So that's what I got. Next week's reviews are going to be even more interesting, and I'm really excited to get into them. I want to thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Please like this video if you like my content. Subscribe if you want to see more. Also, ding that notification bell so that you know when new videos are coming up. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.